Find a group of people who challenge and inspire you. Spend a lot of time with them, and it will change your life forever. Amy Poehler. We treat discipline like it's a heavy lift, a constant battle against the part of us that just wants to take the path of least resistance. Think about the people that you spend your time with, not just your friends, but the colleagues, your peers, those voices that get the attention of your ears. Whether you like it or not, we're constantly calibrating our internal thermostat to the temperature of the room or environments we're in. And if everyone around you treats a work week like it's a grueling marathon, you're going to feel exhausted by Friday. But if you're in rooms or around people who are building something, staying fit, showing up without making a spectacle of it, your perspective will also start to change. You start to realize that what you thought was extraordinary is actually just the baseline for some people. It's not that you'll necessarily feel like you're working harder or that you're being forced to change. You'll most likely just stop noticing the work. The excuses that may have used to make sense to you start to sound a bit hollow to you. On the other hand, if you're currently the most disciplined person in your circle, you might think you're leading, but what you're actually doing is plateauing. You're most likely at your ceiling. If your environment doesn't demand a better version of you, the version you have right now is the best you'll ever be. However, when you do decide to step into a new circle or take on something that feels out of your league, oftentimes, the first thing you'll notice is that sinking feeling that hits you in the gut. You look around the room, you listen to how this group of people talk, or watch how they conduct themselves, and you'll probably feel like there's been a mistake. You might feel like a bit of a fraud. It's almost as though you're waiting for someone to tap you on the shoulder and tell you, you don't belong here. There's a term for this, and you've probably heard it before. It's called imposter syndrome. And we often treat it like it's a red light. It's a sign that we should back up and go to where things are comfortable. But you actually need to look at that feeling a little different. That internal friction isn't a warning that you're failing. It's a signal that you've crossed the threshold into a growth zone. If you don't feel like an imposter when you enter a new environment, the room isn't big enough. In all reality, you might just be repeating what you already know. But that discomfort is actually your old standard clashing with your new reality. It's the gap between who you were yesterday and the person the environment is demanding you become today. When excellence is the baseline for the people around you, your inadequacies are going to feel exposed. But instead of letting that feeling drive you back to the safety of people who don't challenge you, you need to lean into it. Acknowledge that you're the least in the room, at least for now, and realize exactly that's where you need to be. You're in a place where your best is their average, and that's a significant opportunity to recalibrate. Accepting that you've got a lot to learn is not a weakness. It's just the price of admission. Now, of course, once you start to change, you're going to notice some tension starting to build in the places that used to be your comfort zones. So then, as you start normalizing new habits, you're naturally going to drift away from the version of yourself that used to fit in with your old crowd. And that can create a sense of loneliness. You'll more than likely still find yourself, I'll call it visiting, your old environment. But the complaints everyone is bonding over won't sit the same with you anymore. Now, all you'll be hearing are the missed opportunities for accountability. This isn't, nor should it be, any type of arrogance. It's simply that you've seen what's possible in a different environment. This is the transition period where you don't quite feel like you've fully absorbed into that new circle yet, but you definitely don't belong in the old one. It can feel isolating. And for many people, they turn back right here. They can't handle that awkwardness of being the person who's changed. It can feel easier to lower yourself back down to match your old group than deal with the friction of being the outlier. But you have to realize that this loneliness is just part of the pruning process. You're clearing out the noise so you can hear what actually matters. You have to be okay with the uncomfortable, at least for a little while. Because once you stop tolerating the habits that used to hold you back, you'll start to see exactly what defines the floor that you're standing on. And you have to remember that the people around you are either your floor or your ceiling. We like to imagine we're defined by our highest peaks, but we're actually defined by the lowest level of our behavior, the behavior that we're willing to tolerate, both within ourselves and the people that we let close to us. In a low standard room, you can make an excuse for why a project is late or why you skipped a workout. And people will sympathize. They'll tell you it's okay, and they'll offer you a myriad of excuses to help you feel better. It's all because they tolerate it in themselves, so they'll tolerate it in you. Yes, it can feel good in the moment, but it's simply a slow, comfortable slide into being or staying average. But when you step into a circle where excellence is the requirement, that filter tightens up. All of a sudden, those same excuses don't just sound weak, they sound out of place. In these groups, or those environments, follow through isn't a special trait. It's the bare minimum. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. The why behind a failure doesn't matter as much as the fact that the standard wasn't met. This is where the real shift happens. You start to realize that you've been letting yourself off the hook because your environment made it easy to do so. And when you finally commit to a bigger circle, you'll start to change the way you communicate. You'll notice that the conversations are different. They're actually shorter and a lot less focused on protecting people's feelings. In many instances, we spend a lot of energy sandwiching feedback. We give a compliment, slide in the correction, and then finish with another compliment, just to make sure nobody walks away upset. But in an environment of high standards, that fluff disappears. Feedback is about accountability, not necessarily to be nice. And that might feel a bit jarring at first. You might think people are being too blunt or even cold. But if you watch closely, you'll see it's actually the highest form of respect. They aren't wasting your time with sugar-coated nonsense because they assume you have the self-awareness to handle the truth. And in time, you'll stop dwelling on the how it was said and start focusing on the what was said. Basically, it reduces the time between you making a mistake and you fixing it. In a low standard group, a bad habit can go unchecked because nobody wants to have the awkward conversation. In an exceptional group, a negative is called out right away. This constant, unfiltered feedback strips away the stories you tell yourself about why things didn't work. You start to realize that the accountability isn't a personal attack. It's a tool for calibration. When everyone around you is operating with that level of transparency, you stop being defensive. You stop taking correction as an attack on your ego and start seeing it as a shortcut to improvement. However, the most surprising thing you'll notice as you spend more time in these better or bigger environments isn't how intense everyone is. It's actually the opposite. It's how quiet everything gets. When you're around the truly exceptional, you'll realize that the drama of trying hard gets replaced by the calm of execution. It's a shift from performative effort to a quiet, steady mastery. In your old circles, people probably made a big production out of their discipline. They'd talk about how early they got up, how hard their workout was, or how many hours they'd spent at the office. There's an emotional value to everything they do, and they want you to feel it as well. But amongst people who are committed, those things are just what happens? Nobody's looking for a gold star for showing up or doing what they said they'd do. It's not heroic. It's just the baseline. When high standards are normalized, they don't require applause. This is the ultimate endgame of environmental calibration. You stop trying to be disciplined and you just are disciplined. The internal friction, that constant tug of war between what you know you should do and what you feel like doing starts to fade away. It's like a professional athlete making a difficult play. They make it look effortless. It's not that the play is easy. It's that their baseline is so high, the effort has become internalized. When you reach this point, you'll realize that success is about the quiet, boring, consistent application of standards when no one's watching. You start to move with a sense of certainty because your habits are no longer a choice you have to make every morning. They're just a part of who you are. The noise of the struggle is gone, and in its place is settled, focused energy that doesn't need to prove anything to anybody. So take a look at your life right now. Take a look at the people who have a front row seat to your daily habits. Are they the kind of people who make you feel like a superstar for just doing the basics? Or are they the kind of people who make you realize you've still got a long way to go? We like to think we're the architects of our own character. But the truth is, we're often just a reflection of the company we keep. If your environment is comfortable, if it's predictable, and if it never makes you feel a little out of place, then it's likely not helping you grow. It's probably just helping you stay the same. There's a certain peace that comes with finding a room where you aren't the one setting the pace. It's a relief to stop being the strongest person in the circle and start being the one who's reaching. Because once excellence stops being something that you talk about and starts being something you just see every day, the excuses don't stand a chance. You don't have to force the progress anymore. You just have to stay in the room. Because the standard is already there. The only question is how much longer you're going to wait to meet it. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes with me. Until next time, stay sharp, stay grounded, and keep showing up.